the upstairs classroom of the Lion Brand Yarn Studio. We're here with Michelle Edwards to talk about her fantastically delightful and Knitter's Home Companion, wait, I have to read the whole thing, a heartwarming collection of stories, patterns, and recipes. And it is that. Welcome.
Thank you.
So I have to ask you, what gave you the idea? What was the impetus behind this project?
Well, I'm a big Elizabeth Zimmerman fan. And Elizabeth Zimmerman, in a way, inspired me to start writing my own knitting stories. And I loved how Elizabeth always gave us a glimpse of her life. Like, I love her stories with her husband, Arnold, you know, especially when they had the Easter egg hunt. And she says at the end, really, should two old people like us have this much fun? And I thought, you know, and she would tell us what they were eating, what they were drinking, what she was reading, what she was thinking. And I thought
someone was driving her crazy.
Yeah, or someone was driving her crazy, or her famous thing, showdown in the alley with her car. And so we knew all these things about her life. That inspired me to do essays. And then after having written essays for a number of years, especially for Lion Brand newsletter, I began to think, you know, what if there was a knitting book that encompassed all those other parts of our knitting life, like our cooking and reading books, and as well as the patterns. And so I began to think about this big, juicy book. And, you know, it was going to have all this stuff in it. Yeah, oh, yeah, no, this is a Melanie Fallick edit book. That means it's elegant and it's focused.
It's lean.
It's a lean. It's a lean, right. And it's a good thing she was my editor, because otherwise it would be really sticky, the one that I was thinking of. And so that's how I began to think of it. And then Melanie helped me tame that vision.
You know, that makes, I didn't know that about you and Elizabeth Zimmerman, but that makes so much sense. I mean, I can hear that inspiration in the stories. I mean, that kind of voice, that very personal voice. And what I love about this is it's like my perfect day in a bound, you know, little object. It's everything that I love. It's, you know, as a knitter, food and company and family and friends and great stories, you know. But I love the whole idea of, you know, the memory of stitches, and that we always remember where we were when we were working on an object. And so to me, the idea of stories and knitting patterns are just go hand in hand.
Well, it has occurred to me as after the book has been done and I've been thinking about it and going to speak, is that, you know, when I go to schools, I'm also a children's book author and illustrator. You know, I always tell kids I bring two things. I bring a sketchbook with me wherever I go, and I bring a bag of tricks to draw and sketch. And what I don't tell them usually is I have another bag, and that's my knitting. And that I always thought that my stories were only in here, but they're in here also. Yeah. And in addition to that, what I began to think of is how different it is to write down a story in a sketchbook than it is when you're knitting. Because when you're knitting, you're present. That is, if you're not like knitting a really complicated shawl, you know, for the most part, you're there. Right. You can talk to people, you can listen to the concert, you can be part, so you're looking out from your needles for stories. You're not separating. So I think that's also why you bring in what's happening around you, because it is part of what you're doing when you're knitting.
Interesting. Now you mentioned bags.
Oh yes.
I see at your feet a shocking variety of bags. Does each one of these bags have a little something in it? A little project?
Well,
they seem like a color-coded array of both alarming and delightful organization.
Well, thank you. I'm going to take that as a compliment, because
it is a compliment. Mine are, you know, paper bags and like Dwayne Reed plastic bags in the corner. Nothing like this.
Well, I graduated from that a while ago because I had so many things, and I found that first I had one of my daughters, I commissioned her to make a bunch of bags for me, and I carried my knitting in, and I found it really, really helped, because if I was working on a sock, I didn't like have the ball going over the needles, the stitches stayed on the needles, and then it was easy for me to pick up and to know I have them in different sizes. I know I'm a little, you know, here, but then I knew like what bag it would fit in, like if I was taking a small purse, whatever. Nice. So when it came time to to take the projects with me on the road to show people, my oldest daughter had a fabric line two fabric lines coming out at the same time. And so, in the true spirit of the place where I live, Iowa City, Iowa, 2 friends came over and helped me make bags for every project, almost every project, so that I could carry them and feel that they'd be safe and loved. And that also, I don't know, these projects, you have a lot vested in them. And just to be able to take them out like this.
It's like they're each in their own little sleeping bag.
Right. It gives me great satisfaction to know that. And, we all have our own special knitting quirks. And, this makes me very happy and secure.
Adorable.
One of the best patterns in the book, and also the most frustrating pattern to have written, was these are, I call them fur socks. And they're knit in alpine wool, and they have a gusset. So we actually, when I was working on the book, I named them the Gussies. This is Gussie, and Gussie is a cousin to Pearl, and Pearl's the mitten, and that belongs to the Mitten Lady pattern. Now the thing about Gussie and Pearl's is you have to do a gusset for both of them. Let's see, make sure I've got the gussets. And so, like here, you do the gusset for the thumb, and then until you separate for the thumb, it could be the sock. And then same thing with the sock. So until you turn the heel, it could be the mitten. And actually, a friend of mine, the one who actually figured out the puzzling problems, the thing that kept me awake at night, the gusset heel, made a pair of these for her daughter, and the daughter took them out of a bag, and she said, "Oh my God, Mom, it looks like a mitten." So, anyway, I'm really proud of those because we finally made these work, and they really, I really encourage people to try this pattern because it's a very, very comfortable sock. And then I have a third one. These are I think this is the only bag which projects have to share.
Well, it's a family.
It's a family, yeah. and they're all made together. So this is a hat called Jeannie's hat, and a few years ago I wrote an essay called Ed's Hat, and it was pretty popular in Line Brand. Lots of people made Ed's hat, and Ed loves his hat.
Ed's hat is still very popular down the studio, by the way.
Okay, so and it's really popular with Ed. He wears the hat, but Jeannie, his wife, was a little jealous. Sometimes she would take one of the hats and stuff. And so I thought, what kind of friend am I? I made the husband a hat, not the wife. So I didn't want to make her the same hat. So I decided I'd make her a hat and I'd make it decorative. Nice. And so this is Jeannie's hat. And because they're all in alpine wool and a similar colorway, I think they kind of make like a nice
They make
set.
a lovely family.
And that's why they get to share a bag.
I see. I love the gusset idea that not unlike childhood, so full of possibilities, you have no idea what they're going to become. So right up till the gusset, that could be anything.
They could be anything. And
Until you have to make the decision.
Until you have to make the decision. And the other thing, for people who have knit socks, I think you will like this. You do not pick up heels, stitches
nice.
Along. So it's a very easy pattern.
So no hole.
No holes.
That annoying hole
no,
that makes
and you
crazy.
never have to be sitting there. Some people do 2 serts, but if you do it with you don't have to be there with 7 needles thinking, okay.
Very nice. Well, I'm so excited, and for those of you who can't be with us here in New York, I'm so sorry, but you can feel like you're with us when you pick up this book and you read the stories, because you'll be taken someplace, and that's what I love about stories. I love being told stories. I love reading stories. You just get taken someplace, and it's fantastic. So in addition to the wonderful patterns, you're in for a real treat of stories and recipes and fun.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. I can't wait to see what's in all those bags. Well, thank you from the Lion Brand Yarn Studio. Bye.
Bye.